Good morning, and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Butchester. You know what I like to do on the show. I want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you to become your best self. Now, Scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And today we want to get you fired up about awareness, about attitude, about emotion, and about being your truest, your most powerful self. My guest today is Marios Skarvellis, and we're talking about his book, The Power of You. I know, such an awesome title, and I love a good book with a great title. So let me tell you a little bit more about Marios. He is a mind-body mentor, success coach, and masseuse. He has been studying human behavior and self-awareness techniques most of his life. He currently lives in Sydney, Australia. Now, I know you want to get your coffee and you want to get your tea because you are about to get cozy because we are about to get started. Thank you so much, Marios, for being on the show today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, how are you, Dr. Chester?
I am doing wonderful. I can. Thank you so much for being on today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Now, I have to ask you, I love that you that you believe that we need to take a holistic approach to life. I love that, and I believe that wholeheartedly. So successful are most people who find that if they keep that mindset, then all things tend to fall into place. So my question for you is, before we start talking about your book, was there a particular something that kind of made you come to that realization? Did you have an epiphany, or was there a particular action that happened?
Well, I have to admit there was an epiphany there. I had a number of near-death experiences from anaphylactic shock from prawn, and it almost killed me on a lot of occasions. Plus, I am a little bit of a reckless type of person, and I've had some near-death experiences with some adventures I've done. But out of all of this, it seemed that I seemed to come out more enlightened, and I was more inspired, and I had thoughts and ideas about things that I hadn't really thought about before, but they were there at this time, which projected me to come into writing the book.
Now, speaking of the book, The Power of You, I love the title. Did you find that
it's called The True Power of You.
I'm sorry, say it again?
The True Power of You.
I apologize. The True Power of You. Did you find that the title came to you first, or did the title come out of your writings?
It came first. It came first. It was like it was telling me to be, about the true power of myself, and to reveal myself and to find who I really am. So the search had already long begun before all these incidences had happened, because I was on a journey of learning spiritual things, and I went into massaging, and I did so many courses, and I was wondering to myself why I was doing it in the first place, but they all came together, and the book was written.
I love how we look back, and I think that so many successful people have a story that's similar. You think that this is a one-off, and you wonder, what does this have to do with any of my future plans? But yet you're drawn to do a particular thing at a particular time, and then it all comes to fruition, and you go, oh, this is why, and it starts to make sense, and you're like, thank you very much. I love it. I love it. Now, speaking of it all coming together and having a realization, my question for you is, and I couldn't wait to ask this question, is that many people are aware of the five senses, but you mentioned and discussed in your book that you have a sixth sense. Can you explain to us what do you mean by a sixth sense?
Yes, I can. All of us have the sixth sense. The sixth sense is basically putting it down to the Holy Spirit energy, the energy that actually drives our whole life, our whole body, because our body has to have some sort of power source to run it, just like anything. And we are of the same image as God, which is the essence of life. And that spirit is the essence of life, which allows us to connect with our intuition, our gut feeling, our psychic powers, our self-healing powers, our maternal and paternal instincts. They're all things that give us this inspiration or give us these ideas, this creativity to evolve and to connect with Mother Nature and other animals. So these are our six senses. They're our instincts, basically. And we all have them. It's just that none of us really train or practice to improve them. We're too busy trying to be analytical and logical and emotional about everything that we're not allowing this window of opportunity that our instincts come to us and say, no, that's not the right way to go, or go this way, or see that sign. And they're trying to guide us, but we're too busy talking. Our own self-chatter is the problem.
Boy, you said a mouthful there, and somebody needed to hear that. And I don't mean in a wag your finger kind of way, but in a way that confirms that they were curious about that, or they thought that was the truth, but they weren't really sure. We get so busy with the hustle and bustle of life and being on that rat wheel day in and day out that we forget to quiet our minds. We forget to just sit back and be in tune with what many call great source or the universe or that God power, that God energy, just our creator. So you are so correct by that. I love that. Now, if I understand correctly, you have a program that you offer or discuss. Tell us more about that program.
Well, the program I called it De-Stressicize because stress is the biggest disease on the planet. We all have it. Doesn't matter what nationality, what religion, what politics. It doesn't matter what thoughts you have. We all suffer stress. It's an ancestral handover, basically, that we all have. And stress is just our own self-chatter. We're constantly talking to ourselves. But the thing is, we do not synchronize our thoughts with the words that come out of our mouths. Everybody would say something, and then inside their mind at the same time, they're not really thinking that. Like you could say, I really love your dress or something, and then inside your mind you're saying, oh, geez, that's ugly, but because you're trying to be polite. And we're not synchronizing with being true to the way we think and what we say. And all of this manifestation of negative thinking, and we confuse ourselves and put us in this stress state that builds our anxieties and depressions and leads to every bit of mental health issues that there is. So it's controlling our thinking and trying to be more positive with what we do. So I have developed a lot of different techniques, and they're basic things, and they're sedentary movements. But we always talk about trying to find this quietness when we're trying to meditate or trying to find some guidance in some way. But in reality, we're used to talking. That talking is not that bad as long as you're talking about the right things and directing them to the right direction, like speaking to God in person, in close up and personal with God. Not sort of asking for God or asking for assistance when we're in trouble. It's about talking to God at the best times as well, and being connected with Him. So once you're connected permanently with God, then all the answers are there. It's just that we're too confused by talking to ourselves and trying to solve all our issues ourselves. So the program is a mind-body self-healing awareness program. So it works through your mind-body communication, which operates 24/7 on its own. We don't need to create a new way of a new program or a new mind-body thinking. We just got to tap into the existing one that is running and not interfere with it. Do you know what I mean by that?
Absolutely. I'm sitting here, and as I listen, I go, oh my goodness, this is going to be mind-blowing for someone who's hearing this for the first time. From when you mentioned that it is a generational thing, anyone who's ever gone to any type of counseling or therapy, we've thrown out the words that it's learned behaviors, that it's in the DNA, it's something that was passed on, and sometimes you don't even realize that you've picked it up, especially when we're talking about anxiety. So the fact that you mentioned that, for those listening, is I don't really understand. Biblically speaking, when we talk about those generational curses, we have to unlearn some of those behaviors. We have to learn how to be our best, and when we make those connections and those epiphanies happen, then you're able to free yourself. And I love the fact that you brought that into your book, and you're allowing people to have permission to shake off those bad habits of their parents, or shake off those things that are no longer serving them properly, and to create new habits to replace them with more positive things that are actually going to bring them a sense of balance. I love it. I love it. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit more about the mental health aspect of what you're doing, but it's almost time for us to go to break. So if you could please, before we do, Marios, remind everyone, what is the title of your book, where can we get a copy, and how do we stay in contact with you?
Yes. Well, the book's called The True Power of You. It's on Amazon. It's through Amazon. And I'm sure it's in some book shops. I'm not really sure, being in Australia. But my website is www.truepowerofyou.com, and that's my website. And also there's www.truepowerofyou.com.au, which highlights about the book and does a little video about the book as well.
I love it. Alrighty, you guys, now you know where you can get a copy of the book. We'll be back right after this.
Discovery. No, just a sec.
What would it look like if we listened more? Could the right voice, the right set of words, bring us all just a little closer, get us to open up, even push us further? It could, if we took the time to listen. The most inspiring minds, the most compelling stories. Download Audible and listen for a change.
We're home during COVID-19, but we're not alone. New Life Pastoral Counseling can help. For affordable Christian counseling, visit newlifepastoralcounseling.com or call 562-209-2083 today.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am Dr. Angela Butts-Chester. My guest today is Marios Skarvellis, and we're talking about his book, True Power of You. Now, you know that you have the true power. You just have to sometimes be reminded that you do. Don't feel bad. There are a lot of people that need to be reminded of who they are. Now, Marios, before we went to break, I mentioned that I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about the mental health aspect of it. As a therapist myself, it always interests me when we can make a correlation between one thing and the other to help people come to the realizations. You speak about mental health issues and how they're on the rise in just globally. What led you to that conclusion, and what are you trying to do to help those who are dealing with it?
Right, yes. Well, as I mentioned earlier about, religion or politics or countries, it doesn't matter what country you come from and what cultures you have, we all have anxiety. We all have stress. Mm-hmm. We all have emotional breakdowns. And if someone dies, we all feel the same way. It's no different for anyone else on the planet. So it's a common behaviour that we all have. And it's an ancestral hand-me-down that is a stress virus that we have within us. Our self-chatter or our general thinking is normally about resolving things, about fixing things, or why is this happening, or why is that happening, and we question everything. So in this negative thinking, we just add to this past that's come to us through all the great wars and all the issues that have been happening in the past. It hasn't been the greatest history when you think about it for peace on this planet. And where we are today, we have the ability now with the digital world to be able to access information that can support us and help us. So we need to be more mindful of the thoughts we place in our mind. It's being more positive and optimistic in all our thinking that alters this negativity that's in our mind. Because the first thing that our default settings, our first default thinking is a negative one, where it should really be a positive one, since we are a part of God. And God is a loving energy. But we constantly keep going back to this negative thought rather than the positive thought, which are the mental demons that challenge us every day.
Now, one of the things that you also discuss, and remember, listeners, we're talking about holistic body care. We're talking about not just one thing, but numerous things that we can do to make sure that we are well inside and out. And Marios, one of the things that you talk about and making sure that we have addressed properly are our 7 chakras. Now, some people are familiar with what that is, and other people are not. Can you explain about these beautiful wheels of energy? Why are they important? Why do we need to make sure that they are balanced?
Yes. Well, as I said, the essence of life is within us. That is the energy source. That is God, the God energy. It's within every living thing that exists. And that energy is what gives us our inspiration, everything that we need to have to be in a mind, body, and spirit balance. The thing is, this antenna has been interrupted, and we have to go back now and tune it all back in. So mind work is different to physical work. So it's practicing your physical training, which is something that everyone should do, is some exercise of some sort. Your mental part is, even having good affirmations or reading something positive, or and your spirit side is trying to connect with your inner spirit. So when each one of those, you do a little bit of that every day, you're actually bringing them together again, and you're harmonizing and synchronizing everything that allows you to then be the more positive person and confident person that you should be, because we don't realize how powerful we really are, because we're always thinking of all the things that aren't working. So the things that are working and all the beautiful things that God has created for us.
Now, for someone who says, I don't know. You're saying a word. I don't know that word. I can't see this chakra thing. I just don't know what you're talking about. Is it something that someone needs to be nervous about, or even as a Christian, is it okay that we learn about that?
Yeah, of course it is. Look, your chakras are just energy points. There's 7 of them, and these energy points all need to be tuned in. So it's not like you have to go and do anything special. It's just becoming aware of them, putting a little bit of focus towards them, and giving them some attention. Because really attention to yourself, which is your own self-development, self-care, are the most important things you can ever do. The 7 chakras are all the colours of the rainbow. When I used to go to school, they used to give us this name called Roy G. Biv.
Yep.
And that Roy G. Biv stands for red, orange, yellow. That's Roy. G is green, and Biv is blue, indigo, and violet. So when you start with those colours, the rainbow colours, from the ground, our grounding is the red. It starts from the red on the ground, which is where your feet are and the ground. The orange comes up to basically our sexual organs, basically around that area is orange. Then you have your navel chakra, which is yellow. Then you have your heart chakra, which is green. Your throat chakra is your blue. Your indigo is your third eye, which is between your eyes, where you see that dot at your forehead. And the top of your crown chakra is the top of your head, which is violet. And they're the 7 points. So even if you close your eyes and visualize these 7 points and just give them some attention every day, you actually activate them. And when you activate them, they all come in tune, which actually creates your aura to expand. Now, people don't understand about an aura, but if you get close to someone, that heat that is generated from our body, we all feel it because it's good to get close to someone to get warm. That energy that's radiating out is your aura. And the bigger your aura is, the closer you connect to God. Does that make any sense?
It does. It does. Now, for me, there's a natural interest, being someone who understands the importance of being a holistic practitioner. I think it's wonderful, but I have heard people that are concerned, because it's not necessarily introduced in Christianity in a way where people hear it on a regular basis, so they get a little nervous. But you explained it beautifully, and I think that the more that people understand that there are ways in which God communicates with us, and that we are more than, I'll put it this way, and someone said this quote, I thought it was quite beautiful, that we are not a physical being having a spiritual experience, we are a spiritual being having a physical experience. And that we need to understand that we are that God energy, that we are the breath of life breathed from God, and that we need to behave as such. And once we understand that, oh my goodness, that we just become such better human beings and understand how we're all interconnected. So yes, I thought your explanation was beautiful. So that's awesome. Now, I love a statement that you make that to me paints a very intriguing picture, and that is you explain or compare that DNA is like pixels in one of your chapters. Please explain that more.
Yes. See, in the past, our ancestors all had faith, and they believed in God and the all-power, and in a lot of ways we were taught to fear it, because we were taught to fear God in some ways, because we were afraid of being punished for being wrong or doing something wrong or sinful.
So, Mario, I have to ask you about a statement that you made in your book, and I find it to be quite interesting. And that is, you compare DNA to pixels. What did you mean by that?
Yes, our body is made up of cells, and every cell of our body, or every dot of our body, is connected to our brain, and it sends signals 24/7. So everything in every dot of your body knows what the rest of your body is doing. That's why it all works together as one whole body. So every dot has that individual knowledge of what its job in the whole body is, and it also knows what every other dot is doing as well, because they all come back to a common mind or processor. Our brain is a processor that actually can look after everything. Well, a pixel is a memory. It's a dot of memory. And in the digital world, it's like a photo. If you took one dot out of that photo, it has a memory to be in that place to highlight that part of your shirt or your nose or whatever it is. But every other dot needs to know what every other dot is doing for the whole picture to be one picture. It sounds funny, but every dot is important to the existence of everything. So it's like one person in the whole world of billions of people. You have a role to play, and your role sometimes, as we all know, one individual can affect a collective world consciousness by even one thought. And that's how we are in this digital world today, where we have access to all the information we need. And we need to realize that when we think about anything, if we're happy, our whole body is happy. If we're unhappy, our whole body is unhappy, because every dot of our body is affected by the thoughts we place in our mind. So that's how I connect with the digital world and our cellular memory in our bodies through that one dot of memory.
I love that answer. And as you were saying that, it made me think about, I knew a person that unfortunately dropped their iPhone, and this was many years ago, and it just about shattered. And I remembered that he had the hardest time trying to touch certain parts of the screen because it was dead in those areas. He says, do you know how hard it is to, swipe any particular way or to read something when you're not able to see? And when you talk about that dead pixel there, it may not matter when it's a little tiny one in the lower left-hand corner, but if that's where you need to tap, then it's a very important place. So we do need to think about how the interconnectivity of all of it. I love it. Now, we have about 1 minute before we go to break, but I wanted to ask you, you make a statement, energy flows where attention goes. What does that mean?
Well, as I was saying about our thoughts, where we place our thoughts is very paramount to our existence. So if we're thinking about something, that's where all our energy goes. So energy flows where attention goes. So where we place our attention is where our energy will go. And that's how an athlete or someone studying or anything that you do, the more focus you place on something and you place your attention towards it, that means all your energy goes there, and you can either achieve it better because of all the energy and concentration you're placing there. So it's the same as trying to heal yourself. If you're trying to heal yourself and you put some attention and loving attention there, and you focus on a particular part of your body, you're harnessing your own self-healing powers by focusing in them to a particular point. We've heard of, even cancers and things, and people that then have thought they're going to die, and all of a sudden, because they've forgotten about it and they're happy and they're just trying to enjoy the rest of their life, they kill themselves.
I have to agree with you. I tell you, you are making some awesome statements, and I hope for anyone that this is their first time ever hearing something like this, that we are enlightening, inspiring, and empowering you. Well, it is time for us to go to a break. Marios, if you would please, can you remind everyone the title of your book, where can we pick up a copy, and how do we stay in contact with you?
Yes, it's The True Power of You. Amazon, if you go to Amazon, you'll find my book there. And www.truepowerofyou.com is my website. Thank you.
I love it. Alrighty, you guys know where you can pick up a copy of the book. We'll be back right after this.
Hi everyone, Dr. Angela here. Did you know that Daily Spark is now on Facebook? That's right, you can visit with me at facebook.com/Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I want to know more about what you're thinking. I'd love to know, which interview did you find the most entertaining or the most informative? I want to talk to you, and I want you to be able to talk to me. Simply visit facebook.com/Daily Spark with Dr. Angela.
And we are back. Thank you so much for spending some of your time here with me today on Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am Dr. Angela Butchester, and my guest today is Marios Skarvellis, and we're talking about his book, The True Power of You. I know, awesome title of a book. So, Marios, my next question for you is, and thank you so much for being on, because I'm having a great time. So thank you for sharing about your book today. My next question for you has to do with personal development, self-awareness, self-care. So many times we read those words, we see those words, especially if you're on the internet, or you're into trying to make you your best you. And people will say there's nothing wrong with personal development. We all want to make ourselves awesome. Self-awareness, never heard of that. Some folks may say self-care. Wow, that sounds kind of selfish. I've literally heard people say these things. Can you explain a little bit more? Why are all of these things fundamental? Why are all of these things key to living a balanced life?
Yes. We're too busy worrying about what other people think and how other people see us, that we're more focused on the outside world looking at us, that we forget that we are the most important thing that we own. We're the most important thing that exists for us, even though we love everybody else out there, whether it's a child, a husband, a mother, a father, that's true. But the true love has to be for what you've been given. And this human body has been given to us by God, and we're within this body, and we need to give more love, attention, and respect to it, and stop worrying so much about everybody else. Because if our inner values and our own inner self-consciousness is true to its values of Christianity, then we then will project who we are, and we don't need to be what everybody else wants us to be. We have to be ourselves, and that only comes when we start to understand who we are. And to understand who you are, you're handed a lot of habits, routines, and beliefs by our families and friends, and we think we have to be these habits, routines, and beliefs. But the power of free will that God gave us means we have decisions we can make of our own. So we need to choose these decisions wisely and make sure that they are true to the values of our sort of spiritual thinking. we're too misled easily, and we doubt ourselves so much because others put us down and disrespect us. So we need to then harness this self-development, this self-consciousness, self-awareness. It's becoming aware. Who are you really? You know, and the only way you can find that is to find God within yourself.
You know, I am so glad that you said that statement. Someone needed to hear that. I can just feel someone's like nodding their head saying, yes, that's me. He's talking directly to me, because I hear so many times people saying, I became a fill in the blank, whatever the profession is, or a hobby, or you volunteer in a certain field because someone told you that that was the correct thing or the proper thing or the thing that you needed to do to have a certain amount of status. And they are living a lie. And, you know, every woman is not a high heels kind of gal. Sometimes you want to put on a pair of sneakers. You know, I know that. I have a really, really, really good friend. She teases me and she says, you know, Angela, you're a girl that's dipped in glitter. I understand that. I love that about you. I'm not, you know, I'm a sneakers and jeans kind of gal. And I know what she means, that I have no problems being who I am. But I can also respect someone who is not exactly like me, because they have to utilize their power to be them. Now, don't get me wrong, ladies. It's always great to have on jeans and sneakers. But sometimes we are asked to do more or less than who we are, and to be able to understand the boundaries and the expectations of us, and to be able to proudly say yes or no when asked. You have just, Marios, given someone just permission to be them. You have freed someone today when they hear that. And I think that that is going to really and truly make the difference in someone's life today. They needed to hear that. Thank you so much for saying that. I tell you, today I think is going to be truly an inspirational day for someone who needs to be free, especially with all that's going on. You know, with everything that's with everything that's going on, you know, I think that this has been a wonderful time for people to come to self-awareness, to realize who they are, and you are so right with that. Well, my last question for you today, and that is that you mentioned about the power of attraction, and that relies on one's true intention. So in that question to you, I want you, if you can, please. Some people might not know what the power of attraction is. Some people might not understand the phrase true intentions, like what are intentions. Can you explain, what does that whole statement even mean?
Yes. Well, we're always trying to achieve something, or we have goals, and we're always trying to move forward to do new things in our lives. That in doing that, we need to put, a lot of practices together and a lot of theories and philosophies to make that happen. So to do that, the more we place, that means we're allowing the power of attraction. We're attracting what we want by the values and the thoughts we have towards that. If we don't think we can do it, for example, then you're not going to do it. If you think you can do something, then the more you keep persisting in thinking that you can do it, the more you attract that to you. That is the abilities or the knowledge or whatever we're trying to achieve. So with that coming to you, that is attracting what you want in your life, by designing your life in your own thoughts, you design your life. You need to have the right intentions behind it. And those intentions are that you shouldn't be trying to achieve something by hurting others, or by doing something bad to get it, or to lie, or to deceive to get it. Because the power of intention is the true values that you have. And those values are, one, be true to them. Walk your talk. Be true to who you want to be and what you want to do. And then you will attract everything that you want.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a connection. It's a connection that is really comes back to even, something like the Ten Commandments, like they're basic rules, but in reality we have trouble sticking to them. So it's trying to define what you want in life by having the right intentions, as in being true to that and not trying to hurt or harm others or do anything that might be bad in its inclination. We all feel guilty about a lot of things. And we've got to realise that our ancestors handed down to us a lot of anxieties and stresses, and we're not to blame for having them. But we are definitely responsible whether we hold on to them or whether we let them go. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
We have to decide if we're going to hold on or let go.
Exactly. Exactly. We have too much guilt around it all. And it's like everything, whether it's our parents, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, whether it's a nationality, we're always made to feel guilty about something, that we owe something to someone else. And they may, and we get punished for something, or it's sinful, or whatever it is. We should be talking more about, all the good things that are happening, and all the other, and all the miracles that are really happening all around us every day, and we just don't see them because we now take them all for granted. Like the birth of a child is a beautiful thing. Everyone thinks it is, but we just accept it as, they can have a baby. But it is a miracle of its own.
It is.
Just having it.
Yeah. I've said that numerous times. It's like, what? To be able to do this. And it works, and we're able to do it numerous times. I mean, this is amazing. Yeah, you're right. You're right. We do.
It's not always easy to do either.
So many things for granted.
That's right. We do. And when you think about the process of even having a child and the cellular memory that comes from mum and dad, and they both come together, plenty of people have tried to do this, and they can't do it.
Yeah.
They can't fall pregnant.
Yeah.
But it's the right time. The right time. And sometimes it may not even be. It could even come from, something bad as well, like someone could be raped, unfortunately, and they could fall pregnant. But that's not the point of that action. It's the point of that the time, the right time, that spark. We talk about the spark. The spark is the essence of life. It hits those two cells at the right time, in the right moment, that it sparks off, that the baby begins to evolve.
Yeah.
You need that spark. It's not about just having the cells. You need the spark, the essence of life, to spark it off, that allows the whole process to start evolving to become a whole human being.
Wow. I love it. I love it. It just, when you said that, we think about sometimes that there are so many bad things that happen in our world, and you're right. We need to stop concentrating on the negativity, because it magnifies the negativity. The negativity continues to grow, and we have such a hard time seeing the positive things in life. And, you mentioned that even when it comes to childbirth, you can have a horrible thing like rape that comes, that brings about a child into the world. But when you said that, it made me think about, there are so many celebrities that we know that are the result of a horrific act but yet we love the individual. We love the person that grew out of that horrible act that brings us so much joy. So it really and truly, nature is amazing. God is amazing, and it's all about how we look at what life brings to us. It all depends on how we understand it. I love it.
We look at God, and majority of the time we speak to God when we're in trouble, when we need something. Right. And when things go wrong, we always say, well, why did God do that? Why couldn't God change this? Why couldn't God have, why does God allow wars to happen? Like these decisions, God gave us the power of free will. And the power of free will is what gives us the ability to think and do and be creators ourselves. We are creators on this planet. You know, we were put here to evolve this planet, to nurture the Mother Nature, to nurture the animals, nurture the whole planet. And we have to stop criticizing the way God designed and fashioned the way everything is. Because when you look at the immensity of everything, you look at, say, even how many birds or how many fish there is or how many land animals or forests, and you look at how much diversity there is, and the colours and the variety. And it amazes me when people think we just came out of water and we just evolved out of water, ended up on land, and somehow everything just turned into what it is. They don't give God the credit for what he really has achieved.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, oh my goodness. Marios, I could talk to you all day. And I love it because I said the same thing. It's like, nope, sorry, I'm giving God all the credit on this. I can't agree with you on that one. We did not, just like you said, just decide one day, bloop, bloop, up on the land. I can't believe that one. So I love it. Unfortunately, we are out of time. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really think that everyone is going to enjoy today because we have talked about some things that people needed to hear about and be reminded of actually who they are. As your title of the book reminds us, the true power of you. And we have power within each and every one of us. If you could please, for the last time, remind everyone, where can we get a copy of the book and how do we stay in contact with you?
Yes. Amazon is probably the best way to find my book. My website is www.truepowerofyou.com, which is my website, and there is also www.truepowerofyou.com.au, which is a prelim video of my book and tells you a little bit about the book as well. It's been a pleasure being with you, and I really thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. And listeners, I hope that you have enjoyed your time with us as well. As always, may you continue to see God's grace and mercy in all that you do. And until next time, everyone, remember that you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.